Jaden and Dontavian come out of that game?
We're still kind of getting all the information. We got in at, I want to say, 3 o'clock in the morning. Guys are still going through evaluation, testing, and so I really don't have any updates. I'll have some more for you tomorrow.
I know it's a little early, but is there some concern that you might be really limited playmaker-wise in that perspective? And maybe we'll get some good news tomorrow, but we're going to game plan.
Oh, absolutely. I think anytime you have more guys that continue to go out, certainly it puts some stress on you, but it's also an opportunity for other guys. And we got other guys in that locker room that are, just would jump at the chance to be able to get out on the field and contribute.
Hey, Matt, when things were kind of rolling for you guys, and you warned us not to, kind of get ahead of ourselves here. You were a 6-6, 500 football team. So you get done with your press conference in New York last night. You get in here at 3 o'clock in the morning. What do you go through there? Because you were obviously not very pleased with the way you guys played. You weren't happy with yourself or your team. So what's your kind of process to getting to where you're standing now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you take a long, hard look at the film, and that was a tough watch in every phase. And you try to make the necessary adjustments and corrections, and you got to learn from it. So, and then you move on, and it's a quick turnaround. We did get a head start having that additional day last week on Tampa, so that helps out a little bit. But ultimately, so we're just in here grinding Tampa tape and moving on.
So you're watching the film on the flight back?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I'm curious, when you look at the final defensive series, what do you see that you didn't see in real time, and what do you kind of wish you guys had done differently?
Well, I mean, you wish you would have stopped them. Like the first couple plays, they hit 2 checkdowns. You're fine with that, and then we're playing. Joe called man coverage, and we're playing way off, which we shouldn't be in that situation. We called another man coverage. That's when we got beat on that 7 cut. We just got to be better with our eyes, and you can't be peeking in the backfield, and you got to keep your eyes on your work. And unfortunately, we didn't, and we got gashed. That ultimately did us in.
Were the corners playing off by their own choice, or just was that the call?
That is something that we're going to have to get corrected, Bill. So that is we if we're calling man, we got to be tighter.
I'm assuming the answer here is going to be yes, but you're playing big games, and your kickers missed a few. Are you firmly committed to him down the stretch?
Absolutely. I think he's a young kicker that obviously is. You got to find consistency in your game, and I will say this: you miss a field goal, and you come back and you hit one in another critical situation that I want to say was 3 yards further, and he hits it right down the pipe. So he's certainly capable. It's just finding that consistent approach, whatever it may be, for him to be able to go out there and consistently execute. And I just, obviously those missed, whether it's PATs or missed field goals, everything gets magnified when you lose, every phase. So that's kind of where we're at.
I don't know if regression is the right word after the way you've been playing, but what surprised you most about just the inability to execute as you would have liked?
What phase are we talking about?
Take your pick, I guess, because you mentioned all 3 last night weren't quite up to snuff.
Yeah, there was mistakes in every phase. We had a turnover on punt return. You muff a punt, you got to just stay down, cover it up. We had a couple penalties, although the one we got to get clarification on from the Anthony Johnson clip. I mean, I don't know. We just got to get clarification from the league so we can coach that better. Certainly, we never want our players to commit a penalty or coach them to commit penalties. But I thought that was a tough one. And then the other one, you know, it was, we mishit the punt, and Rudy is flying down there, and it looked like, I mean, he's trying to push his man into the returner, and the returner, I don't think he saw him, because I've never seen a returner fly that fast. He almost hit Rudy. So, and I know he's got the right of way. It was one of those just freak plays that, you know, certainly there was no malicious intent there by Rudy. So it's just one of those things that happen, unfortunately. And then I thought, when you look at our defense, thought for the most part, I got to be careful how this gets phrased or comes out. For the most part, in terms of run efficiency, and when Saquon was back there, we did a good job. The problem was we gave up 4 just brutal runs that accounted for over 100, I want to say 109 yards, where we had missed tackles, missed assignments, and you can't have that. The one obviously didn't hurt us as bad because Saquon fumbled on the play, the 34-yarder, but we still missed 2 tackles right in the hole right there. Or the first one was right in the hole, and then he made Sav miss down the sidelines. And then we just, a couple of those zone reads, you know, you need 11 guys on the same page. And if one guy's got dive responsibilities, let him take the dive. The other guy has the quarterback. And you got to give them credit. There was a couple that they schemed up that they did a nice job. And, you know, you just got to limit those when they are an open field. You know, the one went for like, where DeVito pulled it and went for 26 yards down to the 1 yard line. We just got to get them down, and maybe it's a 7-8 yard gain instead it's a 26 yard gain. So, you know, that's going to happen. The teams are going to get plays on you. You just can't make a bad play worse by whether it's missing a tackle or missing the assignment. And we had a couple of those that really, really hurt us in the game. So, and then offensively, I think, you know, there was a couple things where we messed up in protection that are inexcusable, quite frankly, just not IDing the structures. And that's a credit to Wink and that defense in terms of just all the different looks that they present to you. You got to be on top of it at all times. They present a lot of different looks, and it causes confusion. And there were a couple situations where it really hurt us, where we had opportunities to get maybe some chunk plays that it didn't happen. And then just being able to throw and catch. There was certainly some throws I know Jordan would like to have back. I did think he did a nice job down the stretch, despite how the game had been going, to show the resiliency, to bring us down, and create some. I mean, I thought specifically the last drive, he did a really nice job making some tough throws that some we made the plays and some we didn't. So, but all in all, it just, you know, every phase contributed. We had 2 turnovers on offense. You can't have them. So when you do that and you have 3 turnovers in a football game, probably not going to win the game.
So Matt, when there's all that you're looking at and you're on a short week, like how do you prioritize what to work on with the guys, you know, when there just isn't as much time to maybe go over all that? I mean,
No, you absolutely go over everything. You got to get some of this stuff cleaned up, no doubt about it. You know, the big ones are just some of the unforced errors, and we're going to have another great challenge in front of us, you know, in all 3 phases of the game against a Tampa team that went into Atlanta and found a way to come away with a last-second victory as well. So, yeah, you gotta clean up your mistakes, but ultimately, you got to learn from every situation that you're in, both positively and unfortunately, when you lose. And otherwise, you know, I don't know what we're doing if we're not learning from those situations.
You mentioned your guys had some flybys rushing DeVito last night. I mean, to go up against a team that's given, I know they're doing their best, but to give up 69 sacks, and for you guys not to get a single one, how do you explain that?
Yeah, it's disappointing. There was a couple where you just got to, again, it comes down to getting 11 guys on the same page and everybody doing their 1/11th, as I always like to say. And when that doesn't happen, bad stuff happens. And it's unfortunate. And, you know, I thought, like, for the most part, a lot of times it looked like when he was dropping back, if it wasn't there, he was trying to find an exit angle, and he found them. So credit to him and his ability to do that. And obviously his legs really hurt us in the game.
And offensively, did you see something that you thought maybe you guys would be able to have success on the edge with some of the jet sweeps and stuff? And did they do a good job of, because it worked early, did they do a good job of kind of figuring it out and making you go to a counter move, or what'd you think of that aspect?
No, there's going to be plays that work and some that don't. And some of the jet sweeps, I think we got to be a little bit more. In some of those plays, there's an option for the handoff, or you flip the ball or hand the ball off to the receiver. Obviously, it worked in the first drive, first play of the game. We got 5 yards. It always comes down to how wide is that end. A lot of the times, what is the structure behind it, you know? And I think we got to be a little bit more picky when we do that. And then, you know, we open up the second half with a reverse, get 20 yards. You know, it's unfortunate, the 2-point play. I mean, we missed 2 blocks at the point of attack. And that's why I keep going back to the execution. I'm not trying to sit here and say that we couldn't have called some better things. I'm not saying that. I'm as much as fault as anybody, if not at more fault than anybody. I'm responsible for everything that happens. But at the same time, when we have opportunity, we have to execute. And we miss a block at the point of attack, 2 blocks at the point of attack. And if you get those, I think he's walking in untouched. So I always got to look at the process, and sometimes the results are not favorable, and you just got to live with them. And then you're sit here answering questions, and I get it, and that's just part of the gig.
How's Tucker Kraft kind of gone from just a guy trying to figure things out to a guy helping you well?
Yeah, Tucker, I think if you look just through the course of the season, you could argue he's as improved as anybody. You know, he's consistently making plays, and he's doing a good job. Not only, you know, you see the production in the passing game, but I think the run game has gotten so much better. I think his contributions on teams he's significantly improved, and he's got to keep on that track. And it's not a shock to me. I mean, the guy shows up every day, and he does a great job in practice. He's developing really good habits, and I think that's when you see improvement.
Yeah, what did you see from Malik being able to come back and get that final touchdown there to get you in front after the play before that?
Yeah, I think, you know, the play before was unfortunate. I think he probably was really, really excited and didn't finish the play. And I think it's such a great lesson for everybody. These plays, it's a game of inches. And I know it's cliche, but it's so true. Because that third foot was almost, or that, you know, the third step was almost down. And it was a credit. That was a hell of a play. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember what DB made that play. Pinnock? Yeah. And he made a hell of a play on the ball. And that was just a great effort play. A guy not, you know, playing to the echo of the whistle. And he made the play. But I think it's a great lesson for our guys in terms of just the mentality you have to have. I think he knew he caught the football and just didn't finish the catch. And he had a guy right on his back, made the play. But I thought it was a pretty good reception on that touchdown. Just to be able to bounce back, show that resiliency that we often talk about, that you need to have, I think, in order to have any chance at success in this game. So I was happy for him in that moment.
Matt, I get that you're in the business of winning football games, but the growth does still matter. When you look at what Jordan did in those last 3 drives, like a guy with his experience, there's plenty of guys that would have played the way he did to start the game and never pulled himself out of it. So is there a value? You still want to win the game, I know it sucks, but is there a value in him doing what he did on a day when he wasn't very good for a good portion of the day to find a way to kind of figure it out and get the job done?
Yeah, I just think that speaks to the character of Jordan Love in terms of just his mindset and what he's all about, and finding a way to, it wasn't easy, but finding a way to put us in a position where potentially you can win the football game. And he made some plays down the stretch. I think he's just got to, like we often talk about, just. If you're indecisive in this game, especially at that position, it's hard to be effective all the time. And I think there was a little bit of indecision early on, and I think, there was a point in time where he just said, "Screw it," and I'm gonna just go out there, play decisively. And I think he played much better. And I hope that we all learn from that, and because that's what it's got to be. You're going to make mistakes in this game. It's how do you respond from them? How do you recover? How do you move on? Understanding that whatever has happened has no impact on what could happen in the future. Just that one play mentality, and stand present in that moment.
You always talk about how even keel he is. That's handling highs, but how does he handle the lows too? Like, does he get down on himself? He seems pretty conscientious, but does he follow your next play mantra?
Yeah, I think he truly does. I mean, because I know just sometimes, depending upon how I am on the sidelines, I try to give him space because I don't want, it does get frustrating at times. But I do think that just, when I go over and talk to him and I see a guy that's, he believes and he's ready to, just take that next play. And so I think that's a great trait that he possesses.
2 more, please. The run game's been building momentum over the last few weeks. How do you guys think you performed last night running between the tackles?
Like I said, I think there was some good. I think there were some things that we could have done a little bit better. Give them credit. They got some guys inside that are big, physical dudes. Obviously, Dexter Lawrence, I think he's as good as anybody in this league. And so just some of the finishes, you'd like to be a little bit better. We fell off some blocks late, but I thought all in all, for the most part, if you look at the run efficiency, I think we were pretty solid. There was probably some more opportunities out there where we could have ran the ball, especially downhill runs seemed to be pretty effective. We were getting some movement up front, and I thought our backs were running hard.
I would think not having Christian impacts everything, whether it's him making plays or just him throwing them out there. How do you better overcome that if he's already on this?
Well, it's one of those things. It is a challenge, certainly. I think anytime you take his speed off the field, I think we all felt that last night. So it'll be great, hopefully sooner than later to get him back. And, Musgrave's another guy that just, they tilt the field a little bit different. Just their vertical speed puts a little added stress, I would say, on a defense. But, like I said, we got other guys in that room that we're confident with, and we just got to make sure that they, you got to run in this game. You can't have any hesitation in your play. I thought there were times where we were a little hesitant, and you can feel that on defense. You can feel when somebody's not really running, and we just got to keep stressing. And I think our guys will learn from this and be better for it.
Real quick, you said they're all critical, but this is a big one, obviously, on Sunday. How are you approaching this week with the short week and your physical stat? Like a lot of above the neck stuff, or what do you?
Yeah, it's going to be a big mental week, I would say. Just tomorrow, we've adjusted the schedule a little bit, allowing the guys a little bit more rest time, bringing them in a little bit later. Still want to get them to plan, though. I think that's important that we have a solid plan. Like I said, we were able to get a day in last week dedicated for this game. And so it's just one of the challenges. Every team goes through it. It's just you gotta adjust to the best you can and try to put it together a solid plan, because you got to have a great plan against a really good football team.